When the lanterns along the forgotten highway flicker, keep driving and never slow down or you'll hear the voices behind you. I had driven the forgotten highway only once before, years ago, and swore I would never take it again. The road stretched endlessly across empty farmland, swallowed by weeds and silence, as if even nature had abandoned it. Locals always said the government closed it for a reason, that too many drivers had disappeared there, leaving their cars behind like husks with no trace of the owners. But that night, desperate to shave an hour off my trip, I ignored the warning and turned onto it. The moment my headlights cut across the cracked asphalt, I felt an unnatural chill seep into the car, like I had entered another world entirely. The highway had no working streetlights, except for the lanterns. They weren't modern lamps, but tall, iron poles carrying dim, glass-enclosed lanterns that looked centuries old. They lined the roadside every few hundred feet, swaying slightly as if someone had just brushed past them. At first, I thought maybe they were decorative relics left behind. But when I drove deeper, I noticed the impossible pattern. Each lantern ignited as my car approached, then flickered violently after I passed, like the road itself was tracking me, lighting my way not out of kindness, but out of mockery. After 20 minutes, the silence in my car grew unbearable. No wind. No insects. Even the hum of my tires felt muffled, as though the world had thickened into cotton. Then I began to notice movement in the side mirrors. At first, it was nothing more than a shimmer of blackness, as if the night itself folded in on itself for a moment. But the longer I stared, the clearer it became. Figures, pale and stretched, keeping pace with my car just beyond the glow of the lanterns. They didn't run or walk, they glided, their shapes stuttering in unnatural motions, always staying just far enough that I couldn't make out their faces. The rules locals whispered about suddenly made sense. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, forcing myself not to look into the mirrors again, not to slow down. But curiosity, it's a dangerous thing. My eyes betrayed me, flicking up one last time. This time the figures had drawn closer. Their heads twitched at wrong angles, their mouths hung open wider than any human jaw should, and from the black holes of their throats came a sound that made my blood freeze, a chorus of whispers in perfect unison. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. My foot pressed harder on the accelerator, though the road seemed to stretch endlessly, refusing to end. Every lantern I passed now exploded into a frenzy of sparks before dying out completely, plunging the road behind me into suffocating darkness. That's when I realized, if the light behind me was gone, it meant whatever followed me was now running in true darkness, gaining ground without anything to hold it back. At last, through the blur of panic and tears, I saw a broken sign in the distance, exit ahead, 1 mile. My chest nearly cracked with relief. But then I noticed something that shattered me completely. The exit sign was not lit by my headlights. It was glowing on its own, bathed in the same pale light as the lanterns. And standing beneath it were the figures, waiting, smiling, their mouths stretched into those gaping holes as though they already knew I was theirs. I swerved, desperate, refusing to take that exit, refusing to stop. And the moment I passed the sign, every lantern went out at once. My car was swallowed in pure black. The road beneath me vanished. The steering wheel turned useless in my hands. The last thing I heard was their voices, no longer whispers, but screams, inside the car, right behind me. No one has ever found my car. They say on quiet nights, if you dare drive near the forgotten highway, you can see a pair of headlights endlessly circling a road that isn't there anymore. And if you slow down, even for a moment, you'll hear the voices too. The first time someone claimed to have heard the voices, nobody believed them. It was a truck driver, the kind who lived his life on the road and wasn't easily spooked. He said he had broken his own rule one night and slowed down when he saw headlights weaving erratically on the forgotten highway. He thought it was another driver in trouble, maybe drunk or lost. But when his tires rolled below 50 miles an hour, he swore he felt something press against the back of his neck, a weightless breath colder than ice, whispering words too close to his ear. He stomped the accelerator, but it was too late. By the time he reached the main road again, his hair had turned almost completely white. 2 weeks later, they found his rig abandoned near a gas station, still idling, doors wide open, no trace of him anywhere. That story spread quickly, but locals still laughed it off, until others began to vanish. A family on a late-night trip never arrived home. Their car was discovered at the highway's entrance, doors locked, seats buckled, headlights still glowing faintly. Not a single footprint trailed away from the vehicle. Then came the teens. Every town has them, the daredevils who don't believe in curses or warnings. They filmed themselves one summer night, laughing, playing music too loud, trying to summon the ghosts of the lantern road. The camera feed uploaded halfway, cutting off in static after a distorted scream. What unsettled everyone most wasn't the scream itself, but the faint whispers beneath it. Dozens of voices in unison, chanting the same words, "Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop." The video was pulled down within hours, but not before it was burned into memory by those who saw it. Rumor has it that if you drive the forgotten highway long enough, you'll start seeing the car that never made it out, my car. They say the headlights appear first in your mirror, matching your speed no matter how fast you go. Then, a figure begins to form in the passenger seat of your own vehicle, visible only in the reflection of the glass. At first, it looks like you, your clothes, your posture, your hands on the wheel. But its face always comes last. They say that when you finally recognize it as your own, the car behind you disappears, and you're the one who never leaves the road again. Locals don't talk much about the highway anymore. Too many people have vanished. Too many strange stories are told by the ones who narrowly escape. But if you ever find yourself lost at night, if your GPS reroutes you down an unfamiliar, cracked stretch of asphalt with flickering lanterns guiding your way, remember this: never slow down. Not even for a second. The voices will wait for you, patient and hungry. And if you listen too closely, you'll hear them calling your name. At first, it's a whisper so faint you could mistake it for the hum of your own tires. But then it sharpens, syllable by syllable, until it becomes unmistakable, your voice, your cadence, your exact tone, echoing from the dark fields on either side of the road. The horror lies not only in hearing yourself, but in realizing that something out there has already learned you, practiced you, and now repeats your name like an invitation. Drivers who claim to have heard it say the sound doesn't come from one direction. It surrounds them, bouncing off the glass, crawling through the vents, slithering into their ears until it feels as though the night sky itself is speaking with their stolen tongue. The unlucky ones who dare to answer back never come home. One farmer swore that on a windless night, he saw a sedan barreling down the forgotten highway with its driver's window rolled down. The driver was screaming their own name out into the night, as if in a frantic argument with themselves. He waved his flashlight, tried to signal them down, but the car did not stop. It didn't even slow. Instead, the lanterns lining the road exploded in sequence as the vehicle passed, raining sparks into the grass. By the time he blinked, both the car and the driver had vanished. The road beneath his feet was scorched black, as if something had burned through time itself. For those who resist the voices, who keep their foot heavy on the accelerator, there is another fate. Survivors describe the shadows in their rearview mirrors growing clearer, sharper, until they see rows of figures running behind them. Dozens. Hundreds. Pale, eyeless things with mouths torn open too wide, their jaws swinging like pendulums as they scream silently. What breaks the strongest men is not the sight of them, but the realization that every one of those faces is familiar. Old friends. Dead relatives. Lovers who never returned their calls. All of them sprinting in the dark, trying to catch the car, their arms stretching just beyond reach. And yet none of them ever fall behind. They match your speed perfectly, endless, eternal, until you leave the road, or until you make the mistake of slowing. Some say the forgotten highway was not built, but uncovered. That when the asphalt was first laid down, the construction crews unearthed something older than the land itself. Bones that crumbled to ash when touched. Symbols carved into the soil that no historian could translate. Men on the crew began disappearing during night shifts, leaving only their boots behind. Eventually, the state paved over it all, declaring it another stretch of road, ignoring the cost. But the road remembered. The road still hungers. Now it waits, patient, for the arrogant, the lost, or the curious. Those who think they can shave time from their journey, those who don't believe in whispered warnings, those who think the lanterns are merely old relics. It watches them drive into its mouth. It listens as the voices begin their chant. And when the driver finally slows, whether from exhaustion, terror, or doubt, the road takes what it is owed. No bodies are left behind, only empty cars, parked neatly at the shoulder as if waiting for their owners to return. But they never do. So if you ever find yourself on that road, if you see the lantern swaying gently against a wind that doesn't blow, if you hear your name spoken from the dark, do not answer. Do not look in the mirrors. Do not let your speed drop. Because the moment you acknowledge them, they will step inside. They will sit with you in the passenger seat, their breath on your skin, their fingers brushing your hands on the wheel. You will not drive alone. And when the last lantern burns out behind you, when the road is swallowed in perfect black, there will be only two sounds left in the world, your heart hammering against your ribs. And your own voice, whispering back from the shadows, asking you to stop.